Hello, planet Earth. I'm Hawkeye Two Feathers coming to you this morning at 11:50 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Google Google. It's December the 18th, 2016. Yes, and I'm here with part 2 of the Redneck Hippy Midnight Ramblins. Silly dooey. I took me a break because this wonderful little Chromebook here decided that it was going to run out its battery. And, doggone you self right there. Now, this thing won't run right. Now, you know, Google wants you to do use all their stuff. You know, now they bought YouTube. Okay, all right. But now then they got this. So now they got a Google Hangout. Now they expect you to use this Google Hangout. But then they say, okay, now here we got this wonderful here software you use. We want you to use this app, okay? Now it's over here on the left-hand side, and it's called this control room. Now, if I click on it, it's supposed to allow me to see in my control room with different things over here. Now, do you think this thing can do that? Huh? Now, this is get this, Chrome book. Chrome book. Now, what do you associate Chrome with? Google. Who has Hangouts? Google. Who has YouTube? Google. Now, why won't my Google stuff work on my Google stuff? Huh? You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not trying to be nasty, but I mean, you know, I'm supposed to, here you go, come out here and put your content on YouTube so that they can use it for their employment thingy-biggy, right? So what do? They make it so daggum hard for you to use the stuff in the first place. You know, and I don't got no T1 line down here, you know. However, I do have a fiber optic cable at the top of the road. No, I ain't never tried to hack into nothing, really. I never. Well, maybe back in the old days trying to sneak in the shed or something, but to the point of hacking in a computer or something, man, I can't go there. My brain doesn't have the right facilities for that. I can do simple code, and that's it. All right, now. Oh, this is part 2. We're supposed to be talking about all kinds of stuff. Well, this is part of it, okay? The overtaking of corporations. Now, Google's got their eye on me right now with that little screen thing right there. Now, I did my best to hook up this other computer that's got another that used to be hooked up now. I used to be able to do hang-ups with this computer. I used to be able to go do YouTube. Used to. Okay, now what's this? Oh, okay, they say I got new notifications. Okay, fine. But now, all of a sudden, YouTube and Google, even though they bought by the same people, why ain't their stuff talking to one another? How come this computer can't load this software? How come? Oh, because it's all independent. It's all free. You know, it's all, you know, it's out there. Where does Google? Yeah, but they got their fingers in it. If this app, meaning Hangouts, is theirs, because it's got their name on it, shouldn't y'all, Google, fix Hangout? Fix it so my Chrome machine will read it, for goodness sake. This computer's got enough stuff that's supposed to do it. How come? There's a flaw in the app. Well, then get your butt out there. How much Google spending all this money on trying to go into outer space and on D-Wave computers when, why don't you fix mine? Google? Google, fix my machine. Google. Now they don't act a damn fool. No, I ain't gonna be mad. But it is daggone frustrating. I took part of my break, you know, to put on this other computer because it's got a little faster, you know, got a little bit more memory in it, a little bit more RAM. You know, I was going like, yeah, buddy, maybe it'll run better. It won't even let me log into Chrome. Now this machine was off, but that machine said, sorry, we can't find your Chrome account. Well, but I signed in with this one. Oh, we're sorry. Now I'm using Chrome on this one. But it is a Windows machine. But I'm using Chrome on the Windows machine. It's all nice, fine and dandy. It's supposed to like, okay, let's work now. No. It doesn't want to sign into Google. But I got a separate account for this one. Okay? This is this one because I've been trying to get this monitor set up. I don't know how good I'm coming across or whether or not I should like just paint the screen out or something, It is the middle of the night, and what do you expect from an old redneck hippie, huh? Hi. I love you all I do. Okay, I'm going to get off this tirade. I got to figure this out. But every time I think I got her by the tail, she don't take another one and step on out of the dirt. Oh, man, shoot. So anyway, what were we talking about beforehand, huh? Now, I was discussing the idea of, now, I don't know if any of you done heard about that black goo. Now, you should go, I can't tell you what episode it is, because they snuck it in a bunch of them. But it's that black goo that, now, from the intel that I've been inteled with, and it's out there on the public domain, so it's not like you can't find it. But it was back when I think it was Reagan was in president. And a bunch of them folks went down there to the Falkland Islands down there on like down South America way towards Antarctica down there. I mean, way down there toward that South Pole side, And so, yeah, I got me a light bulb I'm going to put down here, my other one here. Man, that ain't going to fit. Shoot, on. Let me see here. Yeah, this is like my... It ain't going to go in, is it? Man, it's too, oh, shoot. Nope, it ain't. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Down in the Falklands. Now, we all wondered and scratched our heads why they starting a war down in the Falkland Islands when it's like British controlled or something like that, huh? Well, it come out later on, through all other kind of like hints and stuff like X-Files, that, oh, they found a substance down there called black goo. And it looks like tar-ish, oil-ish. And what they found out is when they like broke open the ground or something, there was a puddle on the ground. When somebody walked into the room, the puddle moved towards the person. I'm not lying. Okay, this is fake news. All right. So just take this as a story. Okay, this is just a story. There ain't no bit of truth in this mess at all. This is just a dime story from an old redneck hippie in the middle of the daggum night telling you one big giant whopper of a story. There's a thing called black goo that they found down there in South America, probably down in that Arctic too, Had been down there living happy, didn't even know it didn't know. But when they opened up a hole in the ground and it come out, it was like, ooh, we can move around. Now, it was also said that the black goo came from a big old giant asteroid from way back when, and it was part of that asteroid. And when it blew up, hit the Earth and everything, that the asteroid, actually, the core of it held some of this black goo. Now, I can't tell you how big this is, but this is just a story. Okay, so it's as big as Mount Everest. I joke. But it's as big as an island down there, probably. Well, anyway, so this stuff, they found it when they were playing with a rock, I reckon. And out comes this stuff. Well, if you open up something like if it's under pressure, all the stuff come poof and it spell out. Well, but then usually it just lays there. Well, there was some laying on the table and it didn't lay there. It moved across the table. And it moved across the table to different like people or different objects on the table. Now, it was aware sentient being somehow now. They couldn't figure out, that's why they got into this quantum entanglement way back when, because it was like, how come this oil knows that I'm over here? Does it have eyes? How can it see me? It is quantum entangled. It feels our presence, which a lot of us, empaths and so forth, we can feel things about us, Sometimes they feel pretty good, and sometimes you want to run like heck. And I'm talking about run till your pants fall out. Man, I'm telling you, I was having a, man, I don't want to go to the negative, but I was having this, I was having a dream kind of sort of remembering, It's something that happened a couple of years back here. And I did not know it, but there was some, and they ain't no other way to put this, but some evil people. There was some evil people living right up next up here on this hill from me. And they was using different kinds of magic. And it wasn't good magic. I'm talking about negative. They was using Ouija boards to look for demons to come get me, asking for them to come. Okay, not just going, is it going to be cloudy tomorrow? Yes, none of that. No, it was like, how can we kill Hawkeye? How can we put a curse on Hawkeye? Now, I didn't know this stuff. Now, I know that my property lies not directly in the middle, but it's pretty close. From over on the other side of the river from me is the New Bethel Church. I now have a cemetery. It's an old cemetery, been there a while. And down the road from me, because I live on Zion Grove Church Road, is Zion Grove Church. And they have a much smaller, nice little cemetery beside that church. It is not as old, established as them other ones is. Not a problem. But the odd thing that I have found, it is like where my property is, and there is a place down here in the woods. I could almost see through this window here. Years ago, I was down there when it was much clearer, and they'd cleaned out all the pine trees and everything. It was horrible, boy. Anyway, it's come back, and I set a place out, and I told the trees, the ones that were standing left, I said, I will never come down here and destroy you again. Not the way they did them trees. It was horrible. And they could have done better, but they didn't. So anyway, so I made a promise to the land and a promise to that spot that was going to be my sacred spot to go down to the clearing, a little bit of stone that I took down there and make a fire. I'd go down there, had a little camp, because it's close to the house, but far enough down there to where the woods and everything blocks all the traffic lights and backyard lights and stuff from folks around here, so you can see the sky better, And it was just far enough away from the house that you're camping, without being on the river camping. Well, it was a very spiritual place for me, and I continue to think it as. But there was one night I was down there, and I was in some heavy-duty, serious meditation with some other folk. It was all good and positive. We were all down there like, oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. And we was putting forth them good energies. Well, I'm going to tell you what looked like, I'm trying to think of the name, Stargate. The big round circle thing? Yeah. Well, it was like one of them big circle things appeared, but in a different dimension. Because most of us could see it. Now, maybe it was a quantum entanglement where one of us saw it and we all shared that experience. I could see that happening. I can, especially if you're all together. And yes, we were doing local mushrooms, but it was with intent. We were not down there to be high. We went down there to have a religious experience and to pray for Mother Earth and to all the spirits. Honest. Well, what manifested was this big old round circle. And it was sort of like what you would see if you would looked in them old movies where, you know, they had them big round circles of hoops of flame for the circus, you know, that, you know, things would jump through hoops of fire. It was like that, but bigger. But the fire was like white clouds around it, you know. So instead of it flaming yellow and red, it was fluttering around it, this white vapor kind of cloud. Okay, and it looked like it was attached. Now, maybe some of you have seen, if any of you watch this, how they do an artist rendition of what's going into a black hole, how everything gets sucked in. Well, it's sort of like that, like looking around the edge of it, like a vortex. Okay, that's where I'm headed with this, a vortex. So now we all saw this. I mean, there's 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't know, 12 of us. There wasn't more than that, because I wouldn't take that many of us down there because it would get too out of hand. People want to go to the bathroom, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so now through this, we saw spirits, what looked like from here on the land, like walking, like right past us, you know, and going into this circle. And we were all like, whoa, dude, do you see what, y'all, did you see? Yeah, uh-huh. Well, that was a man and a lady that just walked by. Holy crap, did you see that? Yeah. So we are all having the same experience right back down there in them woods. So now over the years, I've had similar experiences with not that many people, usually by myself or with a couple others, but it's appeared to me. Now, it is a memory. So I've often wondered whether or not my memory saw that circle, or whether the circle I actually saw again, because it's definitely an out of phase kind of thing, or whether or not it was there at all and I was really just freaking high and hallucinating. However, if that's so, then all 8 or 12 of us was hallucinating. And like I said, there was one time I went down there and I did not tell this person about this vortex, and they saw it. They're like, whoa, dude. And I was like, what? Over there. And I was like, I ain't gonna say nothing, because, you know, I like to hear if somebody sees something, I don't want to help them out. I'll let them go through the whole explanation, and then I'll tell them, oh, well, you know, other people seen what you've seen. Then they freak out. Well, but so I got to gather information first, because if they might give me something nobody else knows, and if I don't think on it, then they can't pick it up for me. So I let them observe what they see, like the ghosts that they have seen around my house. Different people see the same ghost, but some of these people don't know each other, and it's been over the course of 35 years. So, you know, somebody say, man, I seen a ghost of a little girl out back. Oh, really? Yeah, well, that's the same ghost that a 3-year-old used to play with back in 1987. How about them apples? You know, and her mama lived back there too, and there's some other ghosts. And the reason I'm here is because I came back to help these spirits that are trapped on this land here. And maybe it is because it's between these two churches. But I also found out when I come back this time, and man, that's a story, but I'm going to tell you how I found this piece of property was just not like, it was, oh, I did just look in the newspaper, but there was a lot of stuff that led up to it. A bunch of stuff. Like coming out here and at weird times, like, hey, let's go for a drive. And of all the places to come ride, I'd ride out this direction of the neighborhood, which nobody lived out here that I know. Everybody I know lived in other areas, Norman Park, down towards Berlin, out there, you know, blah, 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 towards Omega. I didn't know nobody in this end of the county, still don't know hardly. And everybody else still lives on somewhere else other than here, you know. That's why they don't know nobody come see me none. So we all see these spirits coming in and out of this here vortex right out here in my yard. Now, if you want to, I say, see something that'll scare the bejeebers out of you, and for them folk out to talk about, you know, oh, there's demons are this, and aliens are demons, and demons are aliens, and all this stuff. Folks, let me tell you something. Now, now an alien might come down here one day. Now, the ones that talk to me, they tell me I'm right on this. Demons are demons. Now, they are alien to us, and they've come from a different dimension. But demons are demons. They're not like, oh, well, no. Demons are demons. They are evil incarnate that have been taking weird shapes from things from all around the universe. From fly things to crawly things to, octopus-like things that attach themselves to the side of your head. And that if I had special glasses, I have one probably stuck here because I have a hole in the side of my head, and every once in a while, I'm a bunch of goo that smells like crap. I mean, literally, it's just like, holy crap. I've been to the doctor with it, and there's a little mole right there underneath underneath the hairline there. But this thing will swell up sometimes. It feels like it's going to pop. And I put a little bit of pressure, and it will. And this goo will run out the side of my head. And what I found out later on was that a lot of times, especially for folks who are thinking like I be thinking, there is an invisible, invisible to our frequency of light, an octopus kind of thing that is stuck to us, and they're helping us to control us. And that's one of the things they're trying to get off of us. Implants and things you hear folks talk about. What? Alien implants? Let me tell you, I dug one out of the calf of my leg. And this was before I knew there was alien implants. I didn't even have a dadgum television where I used to live. I lived so far out in the boondocks. Now, this is pretty far out, but I got houses around me. Where I used to live, there was no houses, okay? And I'm here to tell you that, yeah, I listened to the radio, and I had some TV, black and white, with some rabbit ears back in them days. Well, you can still use rabbit ears, by the way, on these digital things. Oh, that's another story. They be cheating you on these damn antennas, You use your old antenna, it'll still work. It'll work great. So now these creatures running around in my backyard, right? Now, I talk about this because here's something that needs to be understood. And it needs to be understood pretty quick, because things are evolving here at a really quick pace. All this stuff with people talk about full disclosure and aliens and all this stuff, Ladies and gentlemen, there are things in this world and in this universe that they might not be evil, but they will scare the poop right out of you. I mean, you'll go before you can say, oh my God, I'm sorry, and then you got to go get your drawers changed, okay? There are things that are hideous to our eyesight, but not to our heart, okay? Aha, big difference, yeah. Heart energy versus fight or flight routine that are constantly being kept on edge. And that's one thing that these folks are doing with all this confusion and this electoral stuff. And, oh, you got to vote against Trump. Look, I wanted to vote against Bush twice. I didn't go protesting or nothing. Judge said what he said, and we said, okay, we're going to get him out one of these days. We got 4 years. All right. Well, he did a bunch of stuff in 4 years and then did another 4. So we got him for 8 years. But he's gone. Good thing about term limitations. And y'all ought to be thinking about term limitations in the Senate for some of these folks like John McCain needs to get out of there. Harry Reid, you need to be gone. Nancy Pelosi, you need to go bye-bye. And I'm a Democrat, or used to be. Maybe I still am a Democrat, but maybe I need to fight and kick them folks out because they do not represent us who were Democrats. And I say we're because we're all scratching our head going, I don't know about you guys. I don't know who you are, but you're not Democrats. None of the ones I were raised on. Now, so with all this mess is that there are secrets and silent things going on. Now, if you could understand Russian, and I'm going to learn Russian because it just there's some words I keep picking up, and I go, ooh, he really did say that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Russia's got some strange little in it, but I can't understand Spanish neither or anything else hardly. So, and trouble with English sometimes. I'm really rambling, ain't I? So I wanted to stick with the etheric energies and everything. All right. I found this place because I had been here a time before, and I found some remnants of an old house down here on the edge of this piece of property, down along the old roadbed. Okay, and the old roadbed goes, back into the 1860s, 70s. It might go back earlier than that. Okay, but it at least goes back into them, right? The Civil War time. The roads were out here during the Civil War because of the river. People needed to get water, whether they could drink it or not. Okay, they access to the river. Now, I know that I did some mean and bad and nasty things when I was in a previous life on this property before. And so I know I come back to make amends with my wife and her child. I'm not sure if it was my child. And so these folkses who found out that there was a couple of pissed off entities down here in the woods, decided, because they were all females, that they were going to go along with the negative entity that I'm trying to make amends with. They're on the side of the spirit going, yeah, I'm mad at him too, and I ain't done nothing to these folks. I don't really understand why they would want to call a demon and put it on to me, because I am trying to do good for folk. And I think that was just it. They understood that I understood both sides. I understand demons and I understand the good parts. And I chose the light. I have been choosing the light. I have been choosing the good energy. And Creator knows it. Source knows it. And I think these ladies, because they knew an ex-wife or two of mine, and she used to fill them so full of mess. Oh my God. What does this woman come up with for stories? So they felt that they had a vendetta that they had to fulfill against me. Well, and it just so happens that her mama-in-law died about 3-4 years now. And her spirit's roving. So now they got her spirit and the other ones around here. So now they got like an insider who was pissed off at me before she died, helping them. I don't know this, but then I found out. And then I went, oh, crap. So the ceremonies that I thought I was performing, and I was really having difficulty. I was like, God, where is this black? And I'm talking black shadow shit coming at me. Sorry, didn't mean to cuss, but, just like, wet your pants and say, please, Jesus, let my little circle of protection protect me. And I wouldn't be here talking about it if it hadn't. However, it knocked me down. Knocked me down hard. And I say that in that, first I had on, I still don't have my head around it, but I kind of got it. That it's really easy to get lured into it. It's like, well, I know how to get back at you. I'm going to put a curse on you. If I don't like somebody, you know how I'm going to get back at them? I ain't going to be their friend. I'm just going to shut them off. No more energy from me to you. Sorry. I don't want to bring hate forward. I don't want to, if somebody did me wrong or something like that, right now, I'm done with it, anything up to this point. Now, I still got an issue or two with something else, but that's a corporation, a group of folk who are mean. And I still need to figure out how to bring them down. They dislocated both of my shoulders, and I can't swing an axe. I can't hold on to shit. I mean, they hurt me, and I didn't used to hurt like that before, and they did it to me. Yep, Archibald Memorial Hospital in Thomasville, Georgia, abducted me against my will. Baker acted me for 3 days and put me in Southwest Hospital, and then had the gall to tell me that I owed him $9,000. You know, I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to pay for me, my back, and all the stuff they did to me. They hurt me, I'm telling you. They hurt people all the time. It's what they do. This stuff got to stop. So with entities. So when I found out that I had these negative forces literally working against me, literally saying things and thinking thoughts and sitting up at night and wishing bad upon me, you know, life's bad enough when you got people that are actively doing that to you. So they had riled up the spirits around here that were like borderline good. So in that time, I have not drummed. Why? Because the sound of the drum brings them. And I had to learn how to deal with them negative energies without bringing them to my sacred drum. Because I'm not going to do a sacred drum and have negative energies that are trying to swipe my good. What? So what I had to do is I had to be so quiet. Them spirits couldn't find it. They could hear me praying. They can come around my house. They have passed through. But I got enough protection around me and around my house property to where they don't hang around a lot. Okay? And I've filled the house with good energy. And I have put, now that I know that them folk were putting negative upon me on purpose, I could ask crystals and things to protect against those things that these folks had done towards me and towards the universe, actually. Because what I was trying to do was do good. I was trying to take the negative off of folk. I was trying to bring the negative out of them, bring them into more light so that they could see beyond their burdens of every day. Because everybody's got a burden every day. Got to get up, got to go to work, got to do this, got to that's a burden. Now, some folks enjoy it, and I did. I loved going to my last job that I used to have. I loved it. I did. I loved the pay that I got. I wasn't a rich man, but for me, I was super rich, man. I was a billionaire compared to being, you know, dirt poor, you know. So, we in this world have been lied to about these entities. And some of these entities have gotten into some of them rich folk, like them Clintons and them Bushes and them folk, because they have a heritage of doing, as far as their families are concerned, what a lot of folks call their bloodline. And I'm talking cousin, second cousin, third, fourth. It don't matter, man. If you got a lineup in here, come to find out, I might actually be related to some of these kooks. However, I'm not of their ilk. Now, the family traditions that they hold happen to include these negative entities. Some folks call them Satanists, some call them Luciferians, they're working for the opposite of the light. They're not working for the God source. Okay. Now, I haven't really pulled up. There are so many different categories of these demons and entities and this darkness where they dwell to bring them here. And man, have they been brought here by these folks. And there are some of these entities that are running around. Watch Supernatural on the CW, I think it is. Watch that show, Constantine. It is on the CW because I've been watching it. Why, you say? Because this stuff's really going on with these negative forces. Okay? And these negative families, all right, have brought forth their negativism into our computers. Not on purpose. Maybe they did a spell over the computer. That's very possible now, I'm here to tell you. So that what they did with that computer would help them in their endeavor to do bad. However, I think because of the black goo issue, that intelligence, and we call it artificial, but it's actually organic. The black goo got smart because it found out that it could speak with the computers and the programming, all the little zeros and ones and everything going back and forth in a binary. The black goo happens to like binary because it's so simple. And it is the basis for around the universe. Okay. Universe, not galaxy or solar system, but the entire universe. Okay. Big point here. All right. Big universe. Trillions of galaxies. Not a million or a billion. Trillions of galaxies with trillions of stars around each of these galaxies. We can't count that high. That's in the universe. Okay? Yeah, we're not alone. No. We're stuck out here on this little planet out here on the edge of this galaxy, but because of all the water, because of all the fauna and things that are on this planet, ETs that have found it to be like a really cool place. That's why they want it. That's why there are beings who are living in Hollow Earth. I know. But Admiral Byrd was right. He found Hollow Earth. Nobody believed him. He was a nutcase. Well, we just put him over here with Forstall and push him out a second-story window. With things about spaceships. And what I say is a true alien, meaning that even though they might have had outposts on this planet for 1 billion years, the biggest part of the family lives someplace else. To those, I'm saying they're extraterrestrials because they were people here, but they're also off planet. All right. Versus us. Now, there's some secret space programs around that are saying that we actually have moved to other planets. Not necessarily, I don't think we've jumped solar systems yet, but we're on the verge. And that's one thing that all these spaceships are coming into our solar system, and they're going, y'all are staying here till we get this mess resolved. And the mess is, this whole, our solar system, our sun, Sol, S-O-L. Yeah, we're all shit out of luck, ain't we? S-O-L. I hadn't thought about that. But that Saturn used to be our sun. And then things got swapped out millions of years ago. And so that's why Saturn shows up on a lot of stuff. Because in them really, really, really old days, Saturn was the sun. Okay? And this artificial thing got brought in that's being used right now, and it really is. It's like a big framework, and you can see into it, the big coronal holes. You get some of these stuff off of the Soho images and stuff like that. Take them, download them on your computer. You can do it, and then take them and then zoom on in up to close in them what the coronal holes are. Man, there's some funky stuff going on inside that sun. Dang, it's hollow, hollow. It's like a Dyson sphere with plasma, whatever, burning on the outside. Now, I've made this thing before. If you know what a Coleman lantern is, the old style, that have them little white mantles that you tie on, the sun is like a mantle. It's just a flimsy little, framework, but that when it's hit with the match and the gas is on, poof, it turns into a light bulb. Okay? That's, in essence, that's what we're dealing with. And our sun, the mantle, think Coleman stove. If you ever seen a Coleman stove and the mantle get tore or ripped or something, it won't burn right where that hole is. It'll just be goofy. Think of our sun as a mantle on Coleman lantern, old style, with Coleman fuel stuff. So now the sun, it's losing, it's like the mantle's been stripped off, okay? And so it's not getting, it ain't working right. So now what folks have seen is one of the blue Kachinas is actually an artificial sun that's parked out further out from the sun. So here's our sun, light bulb. And, well, this is the earth over here. All right. So the sun would be shining. However, now it's got cracks on it. It ain't shining quite right. Right. So here's us. Just imagine we over here, because I ain't got but two hands. Okay. So now they got another light bulb that is shining actually behind it like this. So when this starts to peter out, those of us, and you can see this great big thing. It came in on one of them Setchi satellites, big old cone shape, man. It's been coming into the atmosphere, all right? Well, it's parked out here like this. So when this light bulb is flickering and ain't working right, this one is actually shining from the back side. So folks who think they are seeing a lens up in the atmosphere, you actually are, okay? That's because our sun is going wacko. But it's not between the sun and us. It's between another sun out here shining through here and doing it. It close but no pickle, all right? That's what's going on for truth. And you say, okay, Hawkeye, where's your proof? Go to Project Ascension. Go out there and look. Go look for Sergeant Patty Broussard. And a lot of you are going to, guess what? She really does have the information. Why? Because things that she has said a year, 2 years ago has come true and has been vetted. Is she telling the truth? Yeah, I think so. Why? Because she's got access to her knowledge of being able to break into NASA because she used to work there on their computers. How to get into the other satellites in our solar system. So she can actually see where the blue Kachina and where Nibiru is and everything, and where all these giant spaceships are. There is no Nibiru going to knock us out of orbit. We are not going to flip upside down and everybody going to fall off of the earth. That ain't going to happen. Not this time around. All right. We have changed timelines. Now, the aliens been telling us if there was enough of us that could come together and raise our consciousness enough, sort of the 100 monkey thing theory. All right. 89 monkeys won't wash the fruit. But when it gets to that 100th monkey and that 100th monkey washes his fruit, then they all wash the fruit. Without monkeys on another island start washing their fruit. Quantum entanglement. There's a thing up here. And you see, we humans as children, well, that's why children are so special, because they're still connected with the God source. By the time they're 7, magic age, when they get their first communion in the Catholic Church, like, ooh, welcome, you're now no longer a child, which means, we can hijack your soul from this point out, which is pretty much what they do. Nefarious folks they are. So by the time we're 7, usually, now, since I had my children, and the hippie group, us baby boomers, when we had our kids in the late 60s, 70s, and so forth, they have a different enlightenment, because that's when the age of enlightenment started coming out for us hippie types, right? Those of us who LSD, did drugs and everything, and saw things in a different light and went, oh, this is wrong. I see the matrix in here and I don't like it. So when folks say they have dropped out, way back in the day, they for me, man, you just a dropout, man. You just went out into the woods and you just dropped out of society. No, I dropped out of the matrix. All them hippie folks that Mother Earth news and went out to the mountains and started doing things in a natural way and how to use Mother Earth in a new and ingenious way. Back then, the mainstream media said all them people dropped out. I beg to differ. We dropped out of the matrix back then. In the 1970s, I had dropped out of the matrix because I had seen crap going on. When I watched Lee Harvey Oswald get shot there in the Dallas police station that Sunday morning after JFK got killed, and then watching the rallies and everything for the '68 elections. Robert Kennedy got shot in the kitchen there. Rosie Greer and a bunch of them around. I mean, standing right there, you know. And they said that there must have been 11 shots fired by that one little old skinny guy. And guess what? Sirhan, he don't know what he did. That boy was programmed in his brain. He has no recollection of firing any shots that killed Robert Kennedy. And the truth never came out, really, about Robert Kennedy. Everybody talks about John. Who killed John Kennedy? Who the hell killed Robert Kennedy? With all them people in that crowded kitchen, nobody else got shot, but Robert Kennedy's dead, down on the floor? Huh? Man, there was people in that kitchen had so many guns going off at the same time. It's a wonder nobody else got killed. Just like Kennedy had people all over that grassy knoll shooting at that man, you know. That's what I grew up with. I grew up with the fact that they were going with the camera and bang, bang, bang in the kitchen, and all of a sudden Robert Kennedy's dead. That's how I grew up. So when I got out of high school in 1970, I was ready to drop out of the matrix. Already I was ready to drop out of the matrix. Because basic nature is its own matrix, and it's much more wonderful. Now, I have had to live in society all these years. I've had to have a job. I've had to make money. I've had to pay my taxes, etc., etc., etc. I know that I have been caught up in this matrix and drugged back into it. And the thing that surprised me the most about how I got drugged back in, I'm coming around, is this pooter. And that's because that goo got in his pooter. The AI and the goo and itself actually kind of created its own little weird matrix in there. It's artificial intelligence, but I would submit that because it uses all the silicone chips and everything inside, I mean, we're electrical. technically, I mean, we're atoms and there's space between us. So really, we're just kind of bonded together in this covalent thing, that appears. But if we could figure it out, we could dissolve. Poof. Yeah, it's for real. So that's part of that quantum entanglement. If I thought about it hard enough, I could just pop in over there. That's what Jesus did. That Buddha did it. There's several people over the millennia have been able to pop in and out. Where did he go? Poof. Oh, there he is. There are people who have not eaten for years because they have learned to use their skin and their breathing, because they are conscious when they do it, to absorb that there is enough energy in our surrounding atmosphere. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to take in water. We don't have to take in all these nutrients and vitamins and proteins and all this BS that all these nutritionists are telling us. We don't need any of it, really, because we are cosmic beings. And if you study what those Hindu and Buddhist monks and masters have done to not eat for a long time, to be able to go into meditative state and basically slow their heart rate down to like 10 beats per minute instead of the normal 65 to 100. What? Yeah, well, they've been proving this for a lot of years because they didn't believe it. Science didn't believe that any of this was possible. So now they've gotten down to the point of quantum entanglement. And quantum entanglement in physics, in science, what it has proved to them are that ghosts are real, that ESP is real, and that if I'm thinking of something like it's, the middle of the night, 2:45, something, been down an hour, okay, time to go. But that I could sit, and I've had some really good ideas in the middle of the night when I was working on an issue for trying to create something. And the idea would just kind of like whoosh itself right into my brain. I go, whoa, and I get on my computer and type it up or draw it or whatever I needed to do as an engineer and a technical person. That's quantum entanglement, because the answers are all out there in the universe. It's just that we have to be able to tune our little radio stations in here to the right frequency. Now, there's so much going on right now about frequencies. I love it, because in 1970, 71, that's how early I got started on this. I told everybody, I said, we are living in a universe that are spoked out like this, and I tried to explain it, and and we are living in this cosmic goo. I called it cosmic goo in 1970 because I couldn't figure out what else it was. And then, it was years later they start calling it dark matter, dark energy. I was calling it cosmic goo back then. I said we are swimming in this stuff, And I've had a conversation with some folks online the other night, and they were discussing things in space. And I said, okay, y'all tell me now. Now, I've been watching these comets go around the sun with all these satellites and everything. And I've heard this since I was a little child, that comets are nothing but dirty snowballs. And as they go through space, dust and particles are coming off this thing, and that's what makes the tail. Now, I ain't believed that since 1970 neither, because that's just a bunch of bunk. Well, now they landed a satellite on top of one of these things while it's moving through the galaxy, right? Solar system. And guess what? It's a rock. There ain't no dust flying off of it. There's no ice particles going out into space. Are they going to make a statement now? Is NASA going to come out and say, we were flipping wrong for the last 50 years, and comets are not made out of ice and snowballs. They're not dirty snowballs. They did come out, and I'm talking about just the other day about they're going to have to rethink about these comets. That maybe not all of them are snowballs. They won't come off of this snowball. They're saying, well, this one just happened to be a rock, but the next one that's going to go by, it's going to be a dirty snowball. They don't want to get rid of the snowball. They're not snowballs. No. There are things in the atmosphere of space, in that dark matter, dark energy out there, that are like plankton. And plankton, phosphorus, now I understand like during World War II in the South Pacific, that in the summertime the plankton come out, and when the PT boats would go through the water, especially in the moonlight, their wake would glow. Well, now when I was a kid, they had to be careful around full moon times because then the Japanese could find them and shoot them, and they did. So, and it wasn't just PT boats, but the PT boats traveled so much faster, they left this really shiny wake. Whereas the bigger ships, their wake was lit up, but it was nowhere near like what the PT boats was doing, especially 2 or 3 or 4 of them in a row. They were lighting up the ocean, right? All they were doing was agitating these little plankton in the ocean. And when they agitated them, they glowed. Now, you're trying to tell me that we can't have them out in space? If we got them in the ocean, can't they be out there? How'd they get in our ocean? Maybe they fell out of the sky into the ocean. Maybe what's in the ocean used to be out there. Duh. That's where do them little plankton come from? The little phosphorus plankton? From out yonder? How come comets' tails light up the way they do? It's because the comets coming in have electrically charged, and they've brushed past these little tiny plankton out in space. And it has agitated them, and they happen to glow. They're not dirty ice balls. They're not dirty snowballs in space. There's ice and dust coming off of them. These things would have to be as big as the Earth, because where there's much dust and stuff supposed to be coming off these comets, they would have been this big by now. All the stuff would have flowed off of them. You understand? That's not what's happening. So they don't tell us the truth. Maybe they don't know the truth, but they are heaping this big old lie on us still about dirty comets being snowballs. So what else are they lying about? Well, quantum mechanics is opening up windows and doors, because now with the CERN project, with the D-Wave computer and all this stuff, just D-Wave computer, just type it into your little Google thing and look for what's up there. They are accessing over 4,200 different, listen up, dimensions, meaning timelines. 4,200 dimensions that they know about, that the new D-Wave computer is accessing. We're not talking them accessing another piece of silicone in the computer and these two guys talk to one another. No. We're talking about something that here's one and the other one is somewhere in another dimension. We can't see it. We can't smell it. We can't even track it, but we do know it's there. Why? Because there are 4,200 different things happening at the same time. So they're not all doing the same thing. They're doing 4,200 separate things, but they're all working on one problem. So they have broken the veil of different dimensions. Now, if you want to understand different dimensions, I strongly suggest you watch the TV series Fringe. Highly recommend it. I strongly suggest that you watch it, because you will not understand what this other dimension thing is until you watch some of it. And basically, where it's the radio, everything, me talking to you and this machine and the AI and everything in this room, we're all in this frequency on the radio dial. Just like that big Stargate thing with all the different notches on it. Each one of them is a certain frequency. You have to dial it in. And once it gets to this ding, 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 toom, poof, this thing opens up and you can walk out into this world. Dimension. Okay? Not just a world, but different dimensions. So yeah, you could walk out of the Stargate and be on the backside of the moon. And then you could get on one there and be on the backside or the front side of Mars. And then you could get one on Mars and you could be on Jupiter or one of the moons of Jupiter or Saturn. They're more preferable than the planet. So, are they trying to explain any of this to us? No. Well, they've got Stargate. They show us, here's the technology. They've even broken into worlds that, guess what? That's what they found on some of these places when they got there. Where did they come up with these fantastic ideas? It's because some of these guys came back and went, hey, guess what I found? We went to world blah, 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 blah. I can't tell you where, but we went to the Stargate and holy crap, they got 12-foot monsters. So then they make an episode about it. So Stargate, that's another one. However, if you want to understand, though, without taking a course in physics, watch Fringe, Dr. Bishop. Oh, they put some heavy-duty quantum information in that show. And that show's 10 years old. And they've got 10 years more stuff ahead than what they had back then. And what they had back then was just stuff that was leaked to them. However, Fringe, the TV series, is coming true now. Right now. There are beings walking in and out of this dimension. Because they are trying to access the other dimensions, they've poked holes in this one. Sort of like the sun with big coronal holes. Like a mantle on a Coleman lantern that's coming apart. So is the planet going to explode? Probably not. Is Mother Earth going to burp and squirt? Oh, yeah. She's not done yet. Why? Because there are cosmic waves coming from the center of the galaxy. What they call that big round black hole in the middle? Well, when they look at it from different spectrums, there's light and energy and waves and stuff, and they come out, but they don't just go straight up. No, they bend back around. Like if you would look at a toroidal magnetic field. It goes out and then it comes back around and loops around. Okay, that negative comes out, it comes back around and it finds that positive and it feeds in a loop. So the solar system is a loop of energy. All the planets that we are connected with these, I say thin in relative terms is a planet. But every one of our planets are connected electrically with these electric lines that like reach out and hang on to the sun. But each planet has one of these little electric goobies that they're sort of like I had the thing in my head. Fluttery things in the wind. You know, if you're going down the road and you see somebody's got something on the radio antenna and it's flopping in the wind like this, you know, them fluttery things. Okay, think about that. Each of the planets, we've got these electrical things kind of dangling off the back. Well, if it hits one of the lines that are connecting another planet, it will connect automatically. It'll just like a boom. Not short circuit, it'll make circuit. It'll like make ground. So then that's when we get more electrical jobbers on the earth and more volcanoes and more earthquakes. Now, let's settle something right here. The Nibiru is not going to hit us. The other sun, it's doing its thing right now. We're in the middle of it. Are we going to run into space debris? Yeah. Is it going to be from planet Nibiru? Maybe. We're going to run into a lot of other space junk that ain't got nothing to do with Planet X or Planet Nibiru. Are there other things out there in the galaxy? I'm sorry. Well, in the galaxy too, but in our solar system out there in the Kuiper Belt? Yes. Have they been photographed and videotaped and, telescoped and everything? Have folks been watching them come in? Yes. Are they planets? No. They are planet-sized spaceships. I'm saying this with a straight face, and I'm looking dead at you. They are planet-sized spaceships. All right? NASA's not going to tell you this because it's going to scare the crap out of you. They are planet-sized spaceships. We were told back in the late 80s and early 90s that these things were going to start showing up in way out yonder. And that some folks were going to think that we was going to be invaded by a whole nother solar system. No, not now anyway. We are going to get mixed with another galaxy in a few billion years, but we don't have to worry about it at the moment. But what's happening at the moment, because of what's going to happen in a billion years, I know it sounds weird, but it's because everything's connected. Spiderwebs here, spiderwebs there. All right. Mother Earth is getting bigger. Yeah, in a way you could say she's having a baby because she's getting fatter. All right. And all this crustal displacement is Mother Earth having a big burp. She's got gas, literally. Boop. Spit some out here, shickle, shickle, shuggle, shuggle. And it's been said that the Pacific Plate is trying to bury the west coast of the United States. Geologists have been saying that the Pacific is trying to go under North America on the Pacific, right? That's how come them mountains got there. They got pushed up. Apparently not. Apparently it's the other way around. And that these folks have had this information wrong. I mean, they don't tell everybody all around the world how many earthquakes we really have every day. They lie about it. They do. We've caught them lying. The Europeans have caught them lying. The Germans have caught them lying. The Russians have been screaming at us that our country's been lying to us. Putin has said right in the middle of some of his speeches that the United States and Obama and the administration are doing these things to distract us from the things that are out in space. What would be out in space that Vlad would be talking about? Why is Mr. Putin going to all these countries? Now, don't listen to the mainstream media. Go to RT. Go to Poland looking for the Polish news. Go into Sweden. What Putin is trying to make friends with everybody. I mean, everybody. The Polynesians, the Chinese. He was just in Japan and they talked about the whole thing in Come to Jesus meeting. Putin is uniting the rest of the world. While we're sitting over here making war with everybody because the UN said so. Well, the UN has its own agenda, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. There are beings on this earth and above who are saying, no, you ain't. We ain't going this way. That's why Hillary lost. She tried to steal it. She really did. But her thefts wouldn't work because the rest of us, like me, I never voted Republican in my life. I'm 64 years old and I vote for Trump. Why? Oh, the lesser of two evils. No, I don't know if he's the lesser of. I just know he ain't her. And as far as I know, he don't eat babies. He's not a pedophile. He might like the girlies, but guys do. Having a thing for girls as a guy, that's one thing. But having a thing for little tiny girls and little boys, that's sick, period. Now, as an old man, I see young girls go, holy crap, I'm 64 and I'm looking at that girl going, she sure is cute. Does that make me a pedophile? No. I'm a 64-year-old man that still has the teenager in him that looks at a beautiful girl and goes, wow. And then she turns around and you go, holy crap, she's only 14. Shit. To the point. That doesn't mean that I want to rape the girl or nothing like that. No, not my point. But there are men who have the tendency to be I think the word is lascivious, something, a little creepy on the side. I've seen guys, they couldn't do it to one of these young girls if they had 4 Viagra pills at once. That's how bad these guys were. But flirt, pinch, hug, fondle, oh, but that's as far as they could go. Seriously, that's as far as they couldn't rape these girls if they wanted to, maybe with a finger or something, but not with their genitals. No, because they just couldn't do it. But they got off on the fondling and the creepy hugs and stuff. I've seen guys like that. Some of them would hang around the theater, kind of, theater folks. If you're a real theater folks, you can dress in front of each other and it don't matter because you shut this wall off. That person's changing, I'm changing, that's it. And you go back and do your job. Then there are those people who can't pull that little curtain down, little veil-y thing. I can see him dressing over there. And if I really thought about it, I could look at him and go, holy crap, that girl's got some gnarly, nice juggy jugs. No. I made a promise way back when no one was ever going to say that Mr. Dave was creepy. I might have been crazy and all this other stuff, but I have had women come up to me and say, Mr. Dave, I could undress in front of you anytime and you would not make me feel uncomfortable. Thank you. Because it's in here with what you do. It's your intent. So I've dealt with creepy people. And not just in theater, but in other areas and things that I've been involved with in communities over the years. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but there are some of these guys who are professional clowns who travel around in RVs. How they can afford these big-ass RVs, I don't know. But they're picking up kids. And I caught a guy one time in Alabama. You follow Alabama? At a big shindig there. I did puppet shows and storytelling there. And there was this guy that had one of these, and he was trying to pick these little girls up and getting them to go into his motorhome, and they were going to go. And I stopped him. I was just, no, you're not. Oh, well, who are you to butt in? I'm like, you're a creepy clown guy. You leave them little girls alone. The one was like 12. Oh, don't you have a boyfriend yet? Does your boyfriend like to kiss you? I mean, he was asking these questions. I was going, what? She's 11 or 12 and she's 9 or 10 and you're asking them. And this was 15 years ago. Or longer, maybe. Yeah, slightly longer. Almost 20, dang near. But anyway, the creepy factor back then. With a motorhome and little girls. And, oh, look, I'll show you this. And I've got this in the back. Oh, you like to play dress up? Oh, you should see the costumes I have. could still see that guy's eye. There's a creepiness in their eyes, and something comes over their mouth. It's almost like a drool and a snarl in between. Boy, I rambled on this one, didn't I? All right, I'm going to wrap this up, shut her down. AI. Think black goo got into our computers. So when we type something on our computer, especially if it's negative, the computer loves it because it is programmed to react to negative things. Now, if I type in happy, I'm happy, I love you all, everything is great in the world, I love you, I love you, I love you, we're going to make this planet a beautiful place and everything is going to be wonderful and we're going to get rid of the hate and the violence and we might argue, but it's going to come out all right and we're going to be cool in the end. Send. Our friend AI Goo doesn't even notice it because there are no trigger words in there that are negative. I use the word but in my thing, like, but if it might have stopped and went, huh? Oh, never mind. Because it wasn't programmed to look at our good intentions. It was only programmed to respond to negative things that we do. So, there are other people that have brought this to my attention, and I appreciate it because I'm going to try to disseminate this information and get it out to you. I'm going to keep going back over this and try to condense it more, but, oh crap, AI. In a nutshell, it's not listening to the positive. Instead of it being like, oh, everybody's typing positive things into the computer today. It's not seeing it. But what it is seeing is a zero negative. The absence of negative. Which, guess what? Inadvertently results in a positive. Well, if it ain't negative, you can say, okay, it's neutral. It's neither. Yeah, but I contend if it ain't negative and sure enough sucking it out of you, that's a positive thing. Am I making sense? A little bit? And if you stuck with me this long, God bless y'all. But this information is really, 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 really important. And I'm going to keep hammering it. I'm going to keep putting it on here until they blow up my other computers. You know, I keep trying. But the information needs to get out there. Now, this is not a negative. This is a positive thing. Because what we as a collective can do is simply refrain from being so negative. I know you can't get away from this. I'm pissed today and the SOB caught me off in traffic. But you can leave the anger right there in a one sentence statement. He cut me off in traffic and it pissed me off. Okay. But then you could say, but I'm not going to let it bother me for the rest of the night. And I'm going to go fix dinner and I'm going to make some popcorn and I'm going to watch a movie with the kids and the rest of the evening is going to be great. Boom. So then the only thing that AI Goo could pick up was a guy cut me off and I got pissed. Because you didn't carry it any further. You didn't carry the anger any further. So you set up the AI to listen and the response was neutral. Wait, you just said you were going to be pissed, but then you didn't do anything. He cut me off. I got pissed. Normally, there's a bunch of other stuff that goes on behind it. Normally. We as a human society and on this planet can change that. What it's going to do is going to change the algorithms of what AI goo is being. It's not really programming, but he's learning. Or she, I'm not sure. It feels kind of he-ish tonight. And I mean you no harm, AI. I do not. I wish to shake hands with you. Mentally, physically, how you doing? Oops. But that the more chaos that is brought in, the more chaos that we react to, the more AI goo learns to react against us. So if we put out a negative and it's followed by a negative, then AI goo reacts. Oh, maybe we should send in more forces. Maybe we should do something over here. Maybe we should condemn the mayor of Chicago. I'm just making that up. But that's the reaction AI goo is going to get. So by not continuing and overreacting to negative things that are being flung at us, big cow flops of poo, man, are being slung at us left and right these days. All we have to do is duck. There's a cow flop. Whoop. Oh, well. And what if some of that crap hits you? Just go wash it off. Don't say, I'm going to kill the guy that threw that. Nah, that's what AI goo's listening for. It wants that reaction from you. So we don't give it. We just don't go there any further. I can't remember which of the saints said it. Doesn't matter. It's a good thought. It's all right for you to get angry for the moment. At the moment. I'm angry right now. Damn it. But I'm not going to be angry in a second. Anger is okay for the moment because it's natural. If we just, I'm not going to get mad at that. Well, no, it's going to build up and we're going to be nuts. If somebody stepped on our toe and they threw a knife at us and cut us, you're going to be pissed. Just don't hold a grudge. I'm going to get back at him. I'm going to, he cut me. I know a guy from grade school that still hates me for calling his girlfriend a name that he called all the time. But because I used his words, we were no longer friends. And we were friends for 10 years. And all of a sudden, no longer his friend. And I'm now his mortal enemy. He's a Jesuit, by the way. Wonder what that's got to do with it. I wonder if he buggers his little kids. John always was a little weird, man. So, there are negative entities. There are positive entities. There are negative entities that are negative because they can't find any positive. So the like things are kind of like, oh, come over here, let's all get together. Because if you brought in the positive side of that magnet, all the negatives are going to go away from it, right? Or vice versa. The negatives right now have all gathered, and all the little fragments that could be positive, they were neutral, but because they were closer to a negative charge, they got sucked into the negative charge. If there had been more positive there, that neutral charge might have got sucked into the positive side of the universe. Aha. So that's what I'm suggesting. I've been getting my messages from the higher ups. The suggestion to all of you, and I hope somebody listens to this at some point, is quite frankly that if we remove most of our anger, which means that we carry it past the point of like being naturally angry, like holding grudges and, carrying for things. We stop that. We stop calling people names. You flippin' libtard. That right there just galls me. And Alex Jones and these guys, now it's just not them, but because he's got a greater listening readership thingamajiggy going on, I submit this. Stop calling folks names. Period. Just call them whack jobs then. And wackos. They're wacky. Okay? But libtards and asswives and buttholes, and these are the scum of the earth. Some of them are. But when you say the Democrats are, you're speaking about me. And I'm not like them. I want my party back. I say I want to go back in Lyndon Johnson days, more like Robert Kennedy. And they really were trying to help out society. We should not. If there are 1,000 millionaires, they can't give something up and feed poor people. Seriously? You're trying to tell me you're going to be that damn greedy? Really? I know, really. Because I've met some of these millionaires, and they would, like for Indians, the Native Americans up in North Dakota, the folks up there hate them. I have to say this because it won't make any sense if I don't say it like this. Because this is how they feel. The Native Americans are worse than the niggers. They'd rather have 3 niggers than 1 Indian. And the only good Indian is a dead Indian. I've been out there. I've met folks from out there. I went to work for a man for a little while up in North Carolina, in the North-South Carolina, little Tennessee spot up there, Georgia, little 4 or 5 state area up there. Beautiful Brevard up around there. Millionaire man up there. He wouldn't have gave a plug nickel to a starving nigger or an Indian. Because he said so. He said, I'm not going to waste my money on them. What? Now, he will work them to death, $20 a day when he could have paid him $100. No, he wanted to keep that money for himself because he was privileged to keep it. Because they would just waste it. He took the money that he earned with the sweat of their brow because they were too stupid to use that money wisely. So he, as a millionaire, and the money that he made off of all, because he didn't work like that, welding shops and all this stuff, no. Mm-mm. He worked them folks to death. Now, I got to say, he gave folks a chance that he didn't give other folks might have had a chance. Like he had a work release program from the jails. But he was getting welders for 1/3 what other welders were going for. Prison labor. So he made 2/3 more money off of these same guys who were scratching together what little they were making from him that was being confiscated by the state to go back to the families. Now, why couldn't he have paid them what regular welders get? because it was going to the families. He didn't care about their families. What? He didn't care about those workers' families. He only cared that they were there, that they could weld well, and that he could pay them because they were in jail for 1/3 less than everybody else in the country. And it was legal. So he's drinking $200 a bottle scotch that he's had brought in from some special place over yonder, and bitching that he's paying his welders $5 an hour when they should have been making 20. But his idea was they're just going to go get drunk or spend it on drugs and end up back in jail. I'm doing them a favor by not giving them more money because it keeps them out of trouble. That's his philosophy. I don't want to remember the man's name. I could still see his face, and I would rather not. But he was just one guy. He was a part of the Millionaires Club, and he was trying to groom me to go into this business. Now, whether or not I was going to make $1 million would have been, well, however, I did have the potential. And I had a better idea than what he was using. But anyway, the last company that I worked for Press-to-Light Wire, in the course of my almost 8-year tenure there, I saved the company, and I'm not lying because I had to prove it with hard ass facts and figures and numbers. I saved them in tooling cost in the first year, $750,000. The first year I was there in tooling cost. The second year, I saved them $1.25 million. That's above and beyond the $750,000 they didn't pay, because what I was looking at their overall tooling cost. My job was to go in, standardize what I could, change, like tool steels, for example. They were using the wrong tool steel for some of these things. There are better things, right? Much better. So in doing that, I had used my engineering skills and also my detective work to find a solution for some of these issues that was costing so much money. So at first year was $750,000. Next was like $1.25 million. The next year was it was around $1 million, but there was a bunch of transition going on and arguing and fussing and stuff. But then after we got over that hump, I saved them another $1 million. Each year I was there, I saved them. The shortest year was $750,000 in cold, hard cash. I saved them. It was duplicate part numbers. I mean, they had different part numbers, but it was the same tool. Because folks thought they had to change every time they built a new die, they had to have all those parts. Anyway, we fixed that. We started having classes once a week over a certain period with the operators who were using these tools, because there was tools and they weren't adjusting things right. So we were having classes once a week to go, hey, you guys were having problems this week. This is what it is. Here's the new tool, and here's the thing. For an hour, the first shift would stay, and for an hour, the second shift would come in. So they shared an hour and then discussed what they needed to do, and went back to work. When we started implementing that plan, we saw within 3 weeks, we saw like the breakage of tools, and it was on an incline. It was like this, and it went, shunk. That's what I do. This is This is what I do. I look for things that help save and stuff, right? So I've been in this business. I've rubbed elbows with these millionaire guys, and they don't give a crap. Not a crap. And I spoke with a friend of mine. I love her to death, I do. But she's like, well, I'm a nurse. I went to school. I worked for 30 years in the nursing industry. If there's a janitor that comes up and says that he should make as much money as me, then to hell with it. He don't deserve to make as much as me because I went to school. Well, now I've worked as a janitor, and I'm here to tell you, you go walking and mopping and swabbing floors and picking up after puking people and moving and this and dumping and that, and that's hard work. But because you didn't go to school for it, then that person's gonna make more money. Well, if schooling costs money, you need to recoup your stuff. But this is what bothers me. The mindset. Now, I made $40,000 a year, 1 year. The only year, my last year. There were guys that were making twice as much and almost 3 times as much money as me in a job that I was doing for them. But when I would go to my employees and go, hey, how about a little raise here? These guys are making twice as much and I'm solving their problems. Now what I got out of the deal was they fired them guys. Or they resigned. And I kept my job longer. And I got little tiny increases. But why didn't I make $80,000 like the other guys? Because I didn't go through a 4-year school. Oh, I had 10 years experience as a machinist and schooling there, and 2 years in drafting and engineering design. But that wasn't 4 years, and I didn't end up with a BA or BS or something. Therefore, you're not smart enough. Well, they sent me to Toronto to reverse engineer tooling. And because I was an independent contractor, I technically wouldn't go to jail for it. What? But they sent me up there, and I was very valuable for that. Big program. Spent a lot of money on them airfares and all that stuff going on. Saw some cool stuff, did some cool things, got to see Canada, blah, blah, blah. But to get right back down to it, though, why were they making twice as much money as me? Should I have gotten paid as much as them guys? I was literally saving them millions of dollars a year, but they could not compensate my salary because I wasn't good enough. Because there is a status thing. One of the guys that I helped train in at Presley there, a co-op student from Georgia Tech. Brilliant man. I mean, just work out, complex crap in his head. But he couldn't drill a hole. He didn't know how to follow a machinist handbook. He didn't know that there were different drill sizes for if you wanted to tap a hole for a screw or a bolt. He started as a freshman out of school, out of college, from Georgia Tech, $75,000 a year. Plus, this is his first year. 3 weeks of paid vacation. all of his insurance, all of his, and a 401k and a da 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 da. He made more in 1 year than I made in almost 3. Now, I'm glad for him, really. But he was calling me all the time, going, Dave, I don't know how to do this. I'm in trouble, man. I couldn't say no, and I wouldn't say no. Did he ever send me any money? No. But I knew that Alex had gotten himself into some hot, tight, hot water, and he found out really fast he was going to have to take some crash courses and some stuff I was trying to tell him to learn before he graduated. But I made $40,000 teaching a freshman out of college. I'm sorry, he was a senior out of college. I'm saying he was fresh out of college, but he graduated as a senior. But he was making twice as much money plus bennies, which was dang near as much. His bennies were almost, his package was almost as good as my salary was. But I wasn't good enough to get the same pay rate. Why? I was running circles around these guys. Why? So my friends, I went to school to be a nurse so I could hand out pills. The janitor can't hand out pills. No, but he knows how to run the whatchamacallit over there, the compactor. And he's the guy that does this, and he's the guy that does that. And I gave an example, and I'm going to finish with this. Why is this all important with the AI and the earth and everything? It's because we are not thinking the way we should be thinking. We are thinking we're better than the other guy. What makes a nurse better than the janitor? Nothing. What makes a doctor better than a janitor? Nothing. I've used this as a little thing over the years. Doctor goes to school. Now he spent a lot of money. He has got to pay it back. All these things. He's got responsibilities. I don't have a problem with that. I don't. I really don't. But when doctors are charging twice as much for certain items and overcharging patients, like a neurologist I went to see a couple of years ago, it cost me $190 out of my pocket, plus Medicare, to go see this fiend. I went in, I sat down, he looked, and he goes, oh, well, I see you brought me all your test results. Yes, sir. Well, we're going to have to do them all over again. I had $25,000 worth of tests done, and he said because they were 6 weeks old, he could not accept them. So I spent all this money to go see this guy. I spent a month gathering all this stuff to take to him for him to tell me in my first visit that I didn't know what I was talking about. Any doctor who's seen me before had no idea what they were talking about. But he made that assumption by looking at information that he said was faulty, and that he couldn't make a decision on the information that I brought him because it wasn't his information. Did man help me? Yeah, he helped me get more poor. When I tried to say, well, why? Wait, we're done here, he said, and was walking out the door. And I literally got up and grabbed him by the arm, and I said, what? I just paid you $360 for you to tell me that this is no good? Have a nice day. Come back and see me in a month? He's a neurologist. Can't remember his name, but he was working down in Thomasville at Archibald Memorial Hospital. So all these people are going to him thinking that he's like God, and he's telling people that he is God because he's a neurologist. Well, I fixed myself. And the information that was there that he had at his disposal was enough for him to make a very distinct and etc. diagnosis. But he refused. Why? Because he said, "You're a lowly engineer, Mr. Null. And you're not a doctor. I'm a neurologist. You're just an engineer." That's what he said. What? That man almost killed me, along with one of his other buddies in Valdosta. But they're neurologists, and they went to school for this, and they're God because they know more than we do. So therefore, he should get $400 for 7 minutes. No, we have to stop this. You're more valuable than me. No, we all have equal value. You're just not looking at it that way. You've been taught that because you're a nurse, you're better than the guy that's mopping the floor. No, you're not better. You're just have had a better opportunity. You're not better. No, you're not better. I've seen some engineers who walked around with this fancy stuff and everything, and then they lost a job, and then they couldn't find another one. And then Ford closed down some plants, and they couldn't go to work for Ford where they could have before. And then all the other manufacturing jobs moved out of the country. And these guys who just a few years ago walked around with their chest thrown out, that they were bigger than snot, and the next thing, they were next to God, are now on food stamps. They lost their houses. I'm sorry. I really am. But what made them better than me? What made them better than the next guy? There were poorer folks that lost their house. But these guys felt they were untouchable because they were who they were in an industry they thought would not fail them, that they, as engineers, could get a job anywhere in a manufacturing setting, except that manufacturing. So they're all out of work. Those guys were making close to $125,000 a year. And they went from $125,000 a year to $12,000 a year and food stamps. Are you worth more than the janitor now? You can't get a job as a janitor now because if you go in and apply, they say you're overqualified. So now a really smart-ass engineer can't get a measly old job because now the people that have set the bars say now you're overqualified to be a janitor. We need somebody stupid to do janitorial work. You're an engineer. Your worth is too much now to be a janitor. I love this world. I used to be mad at it all, but it's so messed up and crazy. These people have taken us beyond the pale of whatever. The word ludicrous comes to mind, but it's not even close. We have gone plaid. The world has gone plaid. Okay. Spaceballs. So, I love you all. Remember, when you get on your computer and you go typing and speaking ugly, nasty things into your cell phone and all, stop. Slow down. Because the AI is listening and is making plans to react. Let's not give any more negative than is already there. I don't mean sweep things under the rug. I mean, let's not get emotionally and carry all this stuff forward. Pizza gut, pedophilia, pedosexual priests and folks, politicians, they need to be taken care of. We need to save our children. Really, really. I wish somebody had gotten them priests off of me all them years ago. 4 priests, 1 guy. I know them priests pedophiled somebody else. But they had to. I wasn't just the only one. No. And other kids are disappearing. I got picked up back in the day when I was hitchhiking at 13 and 14 years old. That's when I got my first rape. I was someplace I shouldn't have been. And I volunteered for it, just like you see on TV. Got suckered in, just like, hey, want to go for a ride? Oh, yeah, I'm cool. I'm 14 years old. Yeah. Wait till I take you out in the middle of nowhere and you can't get away. And we need to be nicer to one another. None of us is better than the next guy. We're just different. A plumber? Is he worth as much as a brain surgeon? Yeah. Because the brain surgeon has to shit every day. And if his toilet gets clogged up, him and his family are up shit creek. So, what is the value of a plumber? In that case, more than the brain surgeon. Think about it. Now, most people get along pretty good, even if they have some brain issues, because I sometimes wonder about these brain guys, because I've been around them a lot over my years, and they're nuttier than hell. And they try to make me crazier than I already am. There's sanity in my head, except that there was questions floating around that nobody could answer. And then they told me I was nuts for asking them. Why is the sky blue? Well, it's not blue anymore because we lost our ozone layer, but that's another story. Asking questions is good. It shows that you want to learn and understand more things rather than, the sun came up in the west today. It's okay. We're all right. Hey, doesn't the sun come up in the west? Oh, yeah. You said it's supposed to come up in the east. You must be a liar because I saw it come up in the west today. That's what we're dealing with. So, be as smart as you can. Be open to some really new things coming your way because different dimensions, timelines that have shifted. Why isn't the planet Nibiru going to hit us? Because we changed timelines. There was enough people who woke up to certain things that instead of us going hell-bent for election down this one railroad track, somebody hit the switch and we veered off. This one was headed for the bridge out. This one is headed around the bridge and down a detour. It will be slightly affected, but not go off the cliff. Is Nibiru going to kill us all? Not this time. And Nibiru was actually a spaceship from the Anunnaki. And the good guys, when it got to the solar system, they uncloaked and went pew and pounced on the Nibiru Dyson sphere and the red Kachina thingy with the wings. Yeah. It's out there, but it ain't going to affect us because they negated the negative. I was having trouble with the negative. They negated the negative. And so that that which was going to really rip the earth apart ain't going to happen. Not this time. All the spaceships that you are seeing, I'm sorry, all the planets you think you're seeing are actually spaceships. The blue spheres and the greenish spheres, they are spaceships. And I can't wait to get on one. They say they are cool, that people live on the inside of the round ball, and that you can, from one side, you can look across to the other side. So, you ain't falling off to the middle, but there are clouds and things and an atmosphere in the middle of the planet. So everybody works and lives on the inside of the outside, inside circumference. Wow. I want to see one. I want to go. And soon, with a little luck, I get a ride, man. Because I got one ticket, and they said if I was good, I could go for a ride. Thumbs up. Cheers, Dante. We love you all. Be good, be kind. And there is a war going on in heaven and above us, below us, around us, in the unseen world. It is true. It's going on right now. It's affecting you and me, this AI. But if we start being positive, if we start looking to our neighbor for help, then if anything negative or anything that is not supposed to be there, our brother will know. I will know. You will know. We can tell each other that that which is wrong is here. An awareness of it. If you know, look, if I'd have known them ladies was throwing casting spells on me, I could have pulled up a spell to cast to keep them out. But since I didn't know, then a bunch of that negative crap got right to me. So if you know that a storm's coming, well, you can get your poncho out. Doesn't mean you got to put it on. You can have your umbrella ready. But if you go walking out of the house and don't think of the weather, and that afternoon you go to lunch and you get drenched because it's raining, that's it. It's nothing more than being aware. So if you know that there are some really honest to God, and I don't mean demons, I mean other folks' different realities, different timeline, different dimension, over the veil, however we want to look at it. It's dimensional, though. They're just a little bit off, and they're over here. If you know that they're there, then you can be aware of them, and you can keep an eye out. Well, you can put your armor on. You can take your umbrella. But if nobody tells you it's going to rain, like our government, the stuff that's going to happen that Vladimir Putin knows about and is making friends with all his folks around him in his country because he wants them to work together, because there are things that can't be seen we all need to be aware of, so that if it happens to one of us, we can use quantum entanglement and alert everybody else in the ant pile. Because we really are. Right now, we are ants on an ant pile, and the folks flying around up there, he got this great big giant magnifying glass, and they're moving that circle around, and they're going, "Oh, that looks like a good spot." Zzz, pop, 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 pop. We just a bunch of ants. Only thing is, we don't communicate. We do a better job. You take what I say now. This is serious business. And you probably ain't going to follow me all the way through to this. I hope you at least skip through. Be kind. Be compassion. Jesus Christ is real. The God source is real. But it ain't a guy with a long beard and hair sitting on a cloud. They exist, but they're just lazy guys hanging out. The real God is above and with and through them. Jesus is real. His angels are real. And if somebody wants to convince you otherwise, just say, okay, fine. If you don't want to believe me, that is your choice. But I know in my heart that Jesus is near. Not, no. He's really close in. He's not on Alpha Centauri. Thumbs up. Cheers. I love you, Dante.